We have been on the Villa Vie Residences Odyssey residential cruise ship for about a week now. So we wanted to come to you and share what our early first impressions have been so far. So we're going to go through a few different points about what we've observed, and we're going to just have a free-flowing conversation about those topics. So let's get started. Let's start with our first impressions of the ship when we saw it. What did you think?
I was excited. So we've been waiting on this a while, and we came into board the ship in Soufrière, St. Lucia, which is a very small port. And because of that, the ship was actually tendering to shore instead of being right at the port. So we had some distance out there between us and the ship, and I thought she looked great in the water, white and pristine, and I love the line, so I was super excited.
Yeah, I think if you go back and see that video where we show us on that tender, we are just giddy with excitement because she just looked beautiful from there. We were just so full of anticipation. One of the other things that struck me when we first saw the ship was I had noticed that we were in such a small port. We were in Soufrière, St. Lucia. And, that's one of the reasons why we chose this, because we knew that this was a smaller ship and was bound to go to all of these small, out-of-the-way ports, these hidden gem ports, all over the world. And that's really exciting for us. That's what we love, because we've been to so many, the usual places, the usual tourist places. We want to see these out-of-the-way places. And what was cool is that there were a couple of other small ships in that port. There was, what was
Ritz-Carlton.
The Ritz-Carlton Collection, their luxury ship, and
Explorer Journeys.
Explorer Journeys.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've heard of those before, but they are the top.
Yeah, really
tier.
nice, expensive ships. And of course, Villa Vie is not that. We are clearly not high luxury. It's still, something that many people can afford, unlike that. It's also a residential ship, unlike those. But the cool thing is we're sitting here going to the same exact ports, and we've actually seen them a few times, that the Ritz-Carlton yacht is on. So that's pretty cool. We're going to the same doggone places. We're just doing it on a different ship, and of course, much more affordably.
So let's talk about the kind of elephant in the room. It's something we've received a lot of comments on, and you're absolutely right. So this ship is an older ship. In the American cruise industry, the average age is usually about 18 years old. We kind of did the research on that. It's older in more of the European ports and the Asia ports, but definitely for an American cruise ship, she is a little bit older. She's not like a Viking, one of these shiny new ships. She's more in line with some of the older cruise lines.
So for sure. So absolutely that's true. And, as you walk around the ship, you'll see it. I mean, there's older design. They call it classic design. And it's totally functional, but you can see it's not totally updated. There are some areas that are very updated and brand new, like the business center, but not everywhere is. And also there are older items that have some wear and tear on them. It's not a brand new shiny ship. And there are things that still need to be done here over the coming little while. They were just out of dry dock. We are a startup, right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't get everything they wanted to get done in dry dock. We know that because of some of the delays that were there. So work continues, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah, like the pool. The pool is something that they still need to address. It's still a few weeks away, I think, before the pool is fully functional. Right now, it is available when we're away from port, but it's not open when we're in port.
That's right. And that is something that doesn't bother us. But clearly, that's an expectation you would have on a cruise ship. Right now, if we're 12 miles out, you can fill it with seawater. But 12 miles in or at port, you can't do it because they need fresh water, and there's no chlorination because we're waiting on some parts. Perfect example of some of the stuff we're talking about.
Right. And when it comes to the interior, we would say it's kind of a mix of modern and classic design.
Yeah.
Now, some of the parts of the ship that have been completely refurbished, like the business center, is very modern, and it's quite striking.
Nice.
It's quite beautiful. But some of the other areas of the ship, it's more of that classic design that I remember from like Princess Cruises and Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, it definitely resembles some of the older ships that we've sailed on, and some of the generally smaller ships on Princess or the like. And of course, not only is the business center, as an example, just all sleek, it's brand new. Nobody's ever stepped on the carpet before. It's got all new furniture, that kind of thing. The other areas have a combination of the classic as well as it's got some age and some use on it.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that they're still working on, but they're making progress, is the AC.
Yeah.
It's fine in our room. I've heard somebody describe it as Europe AC cool.
Yeah.
It's not American AC cool. And we do like it American AC cool. So it's working for us, but there's some areas of the ship that they're still working on that balance.
There's clearly variation is the way I would say it. Some people we talk to, their room is very cool. Other people's is very warm. And of course, we're kind of sitting in the middle. We did buy a fan because it was a little warm for us. But they've got a regulation system software that they're putting together because the former owner took it with them, as well as some adjustments that they're having to do and some parts they're having to add. Another example of the work in progress. So as you hear these things about the ship, let us confirm for you they're true. That said, we're still digging it, and we're looking forward to and seeing progress even since we've been here on some of these items.
So let's talk about our cabin. So fortunately, we love our cabin. We adore our cabin. Maybe it's because we kind of had low expectations about it. We thought we were be coming into this very small closet, but it turns out we absolutely adored this cabin.
We do. We'd never seen it when we bought it. We selected it for the location. So when we walked in, as you know, that was the first time we saw it. But we like it. There are a few things we don't love that we're going to change where we can. Like the art on the wall, definitely not something we want to keep. So we're going to change that. And all the plugs are on one side of the room. So we don't have plugs next to the bed. Things like that we can change or deal with. But the things we can't change in terms of the location and the space and that kind of thing, we're super happy with.
Yeah. We especially love how spacious the cabin feels. Again, we had low expectations thinking it was going to be too small, but it actually feels like we can totally live here. Now, one of the reasons may be that we came in and we noticed that they had placed the bed against the side wall, which was really clever because it opened up all of this walking space here. But you've heard that there might be another reasons for why it feels so spacious.
In addition to that, this particular room has 2 closets instead of 3. And that actually allows this space to feel more open because less of it is being used by closet. We were okay with that because we kind of figured out storage underneath the bed. So in this particular room, a friend of ours even came in here and commented on it. It's like, hey, wow, this feels bigger than some of the other rooms, just like this one.
Yeah. Also, surprisingly, the bathroom feels much bigger. Now, that's probably because the cruise line we used to sail with before this was Azamara, and they were renowned for their tiny bathrooms, especially their tiny shower. It was crazy. It was so bad that I would never shower in their shower. I would go to the men's locker room in the spa. But here, I have all the space that I could need, and I've been enjoying it.
Clearly, nobody would go in and say that bathroom's spacious, but for our expectations and our previous experience, like he said, it's working. We can actually take a shower and shave in there, which we couldn't do very well with Azamara, and we've got all our stuff in there, so it's comfortable, and I think it's going to work.
Yeah, the other thing we should mention is our television. Now, we're kind of TV people. We love a good movie. We love our shows. We'll have to talk about our shows, our favorite shows sometime. And this is a brand new television. It has a very clear, really great picture. We stream our shows. We've been really happy with it.
Yeah. And of course, that requires the internet. And the internet has been really good. We have Starlink internet, and we've had that before on Azamara. Here it's been really good. It's flying fast if you're at the business center, like right there. But it's very fast all over the ship for us. We've actually done speed tests. It's been pretty good. And they've got a deal through the television where you can make your television a Wi-Fi kind of hotspot thing. So the internet has been a nice surprise. And again, those are the kind of things that, when they work, it's awesome, but when they don't, it's really a pain. So far, our initial impressions are really good, and we're going to dig it.
Let's talk about the wider facilities outside of just the cabin. Let's start with the restaurants. Oh my God, the food is so good. Everybody talks about this. Now, there's pros and cons to that because the food is so good, but the food is so good.
Yeah, it's really good. I do think we're going to be able to eat healthy and get what we need and not have to cook it or clean it, which is going to be the best part of it. There's both a buffet and a sit-down restaurant that are operating right now. The sit-down restaurant only serves dinner 2 nights a week, and the buffet serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 5 nights a week. We've been really happy, like I said, with the food, the selection, the service, and it even comes with beer and wine, so we haven't spent any money on that. So overall, I think our food experience and the service from those folks serving it's been really great.
Yeah, and if we're going to eat that well, we need to be able to work it off, and thankfully, and this is probably my favorite part of the ship, is the gym. It really is a fantastic gym. I mean, we used to pay for a very expensive membership in Washington, D.C., and I feel like I have that now without having to pay for that extra fee.
Yeah.
It has a lot of what we need to stay in really good shape going forward.
And it's one level up, and it's right there. So, yeah, I don't know that it compares with the really expensive one, but it is awesome, and it's included. So we only have 2 treadmills right now. That's an example of something that we think will change over time. And there's no Pelotons yet. But overall, there's a lot of space. So I'm really pleased with the machines, the free weights, and the space to do things like stretches or Peloton classes or whatever it would be. I think it's a really great space and a way big upgrade for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm able to take classes now, stretching classes, Pilates classes.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a boxing bag that I haven't had in a long time, and I'm able to use that. There's a rowing machine that I really love. So hopefully with the additions that are coming forward, it's going to be even better.
Yeah, and it's hot here because we're in the Caribbean right now, but even outside, there's a great place where they can do outdoor yoga and stuff when it gets a little more temperate. One of the other things that we're really enjoying is the entertainment. Now, we haven't done a lot of the formal entertainment yet because we've only been on about a week, but there are a lot of different entertainment areas. So you can find a place to cuddle up with a book and be by yourself outside the room, of course. You can go do a jigsaw puzzle, play cards, play a game of something with somebody, along with theaters and bars and lounges and everything else. So there's space here, and we really enjoy that. So all in all, for the first week, I would say we're pretty pleased with the facilities, and we're pleasantly surprised at how much we're enjoying them.
Let's talk about the people of Villa Vie. So unlike some other cruise where you may not ever see these people's faces again after 7 days, we're going to be on this cruise with these folks for a long time. So it's got to go pretty well. And when it comes to the staff, oh my God, they've been just so warm and welcoming and helpful. We're really pleased with it.
We're really pleased with it. Now, we've been here a week, but as we've encountered folks, they seem pretty happy to be here. They're smiling. It's a little more relaxed for sure right now because we don't have as many people on, but I think that will last. And they're very organized. They say yes. And what I have found is they're really going to be a staff that I think we're going to enjoy.
Yeah. And the people have been great too. I feel like there's been more people than I expected. Considering that this is the inaugural cruise, it still feels very lively, and the people have just been wonderful.
Yeah, people have really opened up. They've got name tags that was actually done by one of the residents, not the cruise itself, and we have found people very welcoming. It's funny, I thought we were coming into this kind of small kind of group from Belfast and all that, and it's very different from that in terms of there are a lot of people from Belfast. They've been very wonderful, but there's a lot of people not from Belfast, and there's a lot more people than I thought. Everybody we've encountered, I've had a pretty good experience with, and I'm really pleased.
They've had great stories. They've been so kind, all from different walks of life, which I think has been fascinating. we've already made some friends. We've already been invited to some parties.
Yeah.
People come by and sit with us at lunch sometime, but we still have our alone time too.
Yeah.
So that's been terrific to feel part of a community like this.
We do feel a part of the community, and it's a diverse community. There's a lot of all types of diversity, as Chris mentioned, and it seems like we're doing pretty well. You don't hear a lot about cliques and politics and any of that kind of stuff. And, you know, it's early, but my early read is that we're doing pretty well. Of course, we have a hell of a lot in common, and so that's probably a big part of it. The travel passion, the desire to get Villa Vie done. Also, we've found that people are very accepting of us as a couple. Doesn't seem like it's any big deal. It's kind of like what you want in life.
Yeah.
And so far, you know, the people, the staff, and everybody we've encountered has been great. I'm sure we will have our bumps. Nothing's perfect. And as more folks get on, it will continue to evolve. But I'm really pleased. So in our first week, we're pretty pleased with everybody on board. And a few that we haven't seen yet may be a problem, but we don't know them yet.
After all is said and done, what is the final verdict? Well, yes, it's a startup. It's a brand new company, and by definition, when you have a startup, there's lots of risk and not everything goes well. But so far, from our point of view, it's surpassing our expectations.
It's surpassing our expectations, and we had expectations that were imperfect. We've obviously been along for the ride. This is still a work in progress. There are still things that are not done. The website that was 6-8 months ago or a year ago has not been fully realized, and some of it may not happen. We understand that. We accept that. We kind of bought into that idea. Now, there's still things that need to get moving, like the pool that we talked about, stabilizing the air conditioner, and a variety of other things. But when we kind of step back and look at this at a whole, I'm okay with it, and I'm not hung up on what it isn't. I'm very much supporting and want to be a part of what it is, and accepting it for what it is. It's not Viking, you know, and it's not even what they thought it would be in the very beginning, but it's okay with me, and I'm in.
Yeah, and what I think it boils down to is, does it feel like a home?
Yeah.
You know, does it feel homey? Because that's how we set it up.
Yeah.
And does it fulfill the expectations and the needs that we set out for it to do? And it does all that. It feels like a second home to us. It feels good. And it's giving us the travel that we've always dreamed about.
Absolutely.
We've only been on for a week, and we've already been, I can't even count how many countries we've been to so far.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've stayed overnight in some of those. So that part has been wonderful.
Yeah. It is, I think, going to fulfill our dreams. We have to do the things that we've talked about, and I do feel comfortable here. In 6 months, I may be ready to get off. You know, there are things that we're not always sure that we're going to be here forever. We will take some breaks, but I feel very bullish on this. Now, I also understand what it is and isn't, and I look forward to the future. I look forward to getting this stuff done, and we'll see. So stay tuned, but for right now, Michael and Chris are pretty happy.